body, strike, fish, strike, double, out. Again, we'll do this 5 times. Strike, fish, second strike, double, out. 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 Now we'll do fendente, and we'll just do the plunging attack, the main one. Pushing the left, then we're going to do 5 fishing to the right. So first, strike. The left hand is going to push to the left, from left to right, and strike a reversi. And then double, and then out. Let's do 5 of those. Fendente, fish, reversi, double, exit. 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 Right, now we're going to do a fendente. We're going to reach across the body and underneath the fish from right to left, which is harder. You've got to really do this quickly and suddenly. That'll give us the mandrita line. So, fendente. Left hand goes under, sweeping from right to left to push their elbow, forearm and elbow across. Another increasing step, mandrita, double, and out. Fendente, fish, mandrita, double, out. I'm going to do this 5 times. Fendente, fish, mandrita, double, out. 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 Last one. Fendente, fish, mandrita, double, out. Good. Roll the shoulders. Switch to point forward grip, Satani. Now, on this one, I'm just going to push from right to left. We're going to come in. They're going to bring both hands down to defend. I'm going to push their right elbow out of the way and strike. So the concept here is you're trying to get their hands while they're moving. They're not quite grabbed your hand yet. You're pushing it out of the way and in. Ideally, I like to think of this as a provocation to bring their hands out. Even before I start to move, if their hands are coming out already, as I step in, I can sweep and come in. That gives them the least amount of time to respond. Fish, strike. 3 more. Fish, strike. Last one. And hold. And I recognize the limitations of drilling without a partner. This is easier for people to do who have already done these drills in class. However, this is what we have in isolation, so we'll do the best we can. And the last thing I wanted to work on with the dagger very quickly was flicking. We've done a certain amount of that already. So fishing is using your left hand in order to push an elbow, push a wrist in order to open up a line of attack. Flicking is changing the angle. So we see this specifically against the dagger disarm, where I come in with the mandrita and somebody rotates my arm around in order to leverage the dagger out of my hand across their forearm. And Fiore de Liberie says, just bring the tip up over their forearm, and then you can dig it into their side. So let's go through some common flicks. Starting with the mandrita. Come in with your mandrita, they go to block, and you change into the side. So you're changing it from a 15-degree angle to a 45-degree angle underneath their arm. You could consider this mandrita as a provocation. That is your response. Two more. Last one. Now this can be done with a fish. So we can come in for a mandrita strike, push their hand across, and instead of striking at the 15-degree angle, strike underneath the ribs. So combining them makes it even more dangerous for your opponent. Fish, flick. Even if they're able to resist the fish, the pressure on their wrist and elbow, the angle they were looking for is gone. You've changed to a different angle. Right? Switching to the reversing. Left foot forward. So we're coming up with the reversey. They could come out, and we could change to a mandrita, for example. So we could come out with a reversey, plain as day, and change to a different angle. Especially if they exaggerate their motion, if they're false time, if they're really coming out, and you can fish those hands to the side. So this is where the fish and the flick again comes into play. Even before they've made contact with your right arm, your left hand can come out, clear away the mandrita line. You attack the reversey line, clear the hands, attack the mandrita line. If they're not stepping back to gain distance at that time, they're in a world of hurt. Because you've opened up a line, you've got the distance, time, and place in order to strike without being struck. That's not good. Now all of this is assuming we have a dagger, they don't have a dagger. There's a whole different set for dagger versus dagger, which is not dueling. I like to think of it as just happenstance. Two people in a back alley in a medieval feud or some sort of hot topic. Both have daggers and they're fighting. They just happen to get there. Anyway, that's a whole different topic. Let's do Satani. Now, Satani is shown, and I think of it as a centerline attack through the belly button, but there's nothing that says you can't go in a breve line under the ribs. And all of this is soft, right? You've got the ribs, the armpit, you've got the shoulders, and you've got all this belly cavity. Mine is a larger target than most, I admit, but still, the idea that you can come in on the center line and they go to defend straight down and you change your line. Or you come in on the right breve line and change over to the other line. Or you go to the left line, they come out towards it, you change to the right line. And this can be included with fishing. You lure them out, you push the hands that way, and come in the other side. Anytime you go off the center line, you're going to have less power, but the Satani blows are weaker than the descending blows anyway. We're looking at this as getting into the soft spots, 12 inches of blade into the guts and into the spine. That's not fun. The idea of coming out, then coming to block, and that happens, right? Now, of course, one thing that we're not talking about is quote-unquote realities of knife fighting and the idea that somebody's not going to stop there and then look at you and say, hi, how you doing, right? This is where you hear about the sewing machines where they're striking and striking and striking and striking and striking and striking, and not at that speed, at like 10 and 20 times a second, right? And that's not a topic for today, but that's another type of drill you could look at with a cardboard cutout, is taking a training item and striking that object as many times as you can, trying to keep good form. So that takes us to the end of the dagger section I was planning on doing today. I was thinking this would take about 45 minutes, but I see we're at 62. So, are you guys good for another 10 minutes? Yeah? Sweet. Right, let's do an introduction to the next section, which I will then follow up with perhaps on Sunday if I'm feeling like it. So, let's use our apartment sword, otherwise known as your friendly and trusty hammer. You can use a training dagger in a reverse grip. You can use a piece of wood. You can use a stick. You can use a metal pipe, a metal rod, right? Anything around 18 inches, 24 inches, you're good to go. I like the idea of using a hammer because not only does it work in low ceilings like this one, these are like 6'2" ceilings down here, but also this is just a little bit lighter it's lighter than a sword, but it's heavy enough to make you feel like it's a light sword, if you will. And it has something here that makes me visualize a cross guard, right? It has fairly longish hilt, so I can do this with two hands too if I wanted, right? And it's common. You can get these from the dollar store. You can get a light hammer, right? So all those things combined to me to mean this is the quintessential apartment sword. That anybody who says I can't train because I don't have the equipment, then before the virus hit, I'd be saying, do you have a dollar store next door? Grab a hammer and then try these drills, right? So now let's do the drills that you guys know. Where first of all, we're just looking at wrist cuts without our footwork, just rotating, keeping in mind that the hammer head is the true edge and the claw is the false edge. So keeping in mind the rotation of the weapon in order to make the recovery with the false edge back, and then turning the true edge forward before you begin going forward. Right? I'm going to come close to the camera. Hopefully this is easier to see. You rotate back, and then as you come back, you're going to rotate the head around so it's ready to go forward again. And then turn it around and rotate, and then forward again. Right? So we can do that for a forward fendente. We can do that for a left or a right fendente. We can do it with the right hand. We can do it in the left hand. So let's do it again. Right? Fendente, recover, turn the blade over. Just short little short compass strike. And once you do this with a sword in hand, right, it's the same wrist action, the same rotation of an object, except you have a blade in your hand instead of a hammer, or you could do this with an axe as well. Now, of course, the longer the weapon, the more that's going to go off to your side. If you have this pointed straight back, it's going to, if it was a sword, it would go into you. So, of course, you have to keep that in mind. It's coming past your right shoulder, right? Switching back to the right hand. We were doing this a second ago, going to the outside. Now we're going to go to the inside. So we're going to cut a left fendente and then roll down to the inside of the body. Imagining the blade is coming past the left shoulder. And again, focusing on the hand motion, turning the blade over, the rotation, and then back out. And all of this I'm doing right now without any steps. But we can also add in steps in a minute. And then switching back to the left hand, we're going to do our rotation to the outside, to the, I think earlier we did to the inside, now we'll do it to the outside. So we'll do a left fendente, and then roll the hand over, rotate back. I find this particularly awkward with the left hand for some reason. Another reason why to drill with your left hand, if you find it awkward, is just for the virtue of finding a weak point and training to make it better. It's also humbling, which is good in and of itself as well, I think. And one more. Good. Back to the right hand. Now let's do a true edge Mitsani. And then come across, and a true edge Mitsani. So we've got the true edge coming out, and then across. Now I'm doing this to the camera. Of course, if you had a blade, the blade would be coming back and over your head, and then out, if you're continuing this recovery around as a drill. Now with the left hand, same thing. We're going to come and do a true edge Mitsani, recover, and we're just coming over your head. True edge Mitsani, recover. True edge Mitsani, recover. Back to the right hand. Let's do a true edge left Satani. So we come up and underneath and strike. And then we're going to turn that over and recover. And true edge, recover. True edge, recover. This is the sort of action that we would use, starting from left tail, of course, for a true edge fjord to the very sword in one hand, true edge Satani from left tail defense. But here we're going through, we're building the muscle memory, right? And our weapon is not striking the ceiling or striking the light shade. It's just in our hands, allowing us to go through the body and body and hand motions. And back to the left hand. Same thing on this side. We're going to bring the blade back, or in this case the hammer, and dig underneath in a right true edge Satani from the left hand. Recover. Dig underneath. Recover. Dig underneath. Recover. Going back to the right hand. Let's do a false edge Satani. So we're going to come back, turn it over so we have the claw edge, the back edge, and striking up the false edge, and then recovering. This is more awkward, especially in the idea of a wrist cut where we're cutting from here. You'll be more likely to see this again from left tail where you decide to come up with the false edge, or from boar's tooth more likely if you come straight up with the false edge. Right? And all of those, we're doing all the short compass cuts, but all of the longer compass cuts and all of the poster transitions, all of the cutting drills from the post we do with the longsword, we can also do with this. Right? We can do Bill's drill, across, down, over, across, thrust. Right? We can do that. So that just goes without saying in my mind. Now let's do a couple of short compass cutting drills, basically a few of the Myers drills, and then I think we'll call it for the night, unless you guys have any questions. So we're going to start right foot forward, right hand. We're going to do Fendente, Finestra, left Fendente, false edge Satani, and then from here we're going to do a left true edge Satani, and we're going to turn over, right true edge Fendente, and we're going to turn it over, left Fendente, and then true edge right Satani, and then right Fendente, left Satani, and then right Satani, and then left Fendente. Now that isn't, this isn't purely Myers, it's just using the Myers concept of having the four corners, entering one corner, coming out, picking another corner, coming out, starting a new one, coming out, finding a new one, coming out. That's all. Let's try it again. So we're going to start in the top right. We're going to come down with Fendente, up with the false edge Satani. This is exiting out of the box. I'm going to go to the top left, true edge Fendente, false edge Satani. Now I'm going to go down to the bottom right, and I'm going to start with the true edge Satani and true edge Fendente. Now, as awkward it is, I'm going to come to the bottom left and true edge Satani and true edge Fendente. Exiting out of the box, I'm going to go up to the top right again, true edge Fendente, false edge Satani. Going across the left box, true edge Fendente, false edge Satani. Going down to the bottom right, true edge Satani, true edge Fendente. Going to the top right, true edge Fendente, false edge Satani. Into the left hand, we're going to do something similar on this side. Again, I'm just going to pick patterns and ask you to follow along. So let's start top left, left true edge Fendente, right true edge Satani. Exiting the box, we're going to come into the top right, true edge Fendente, and true edge Satani. Exiting the box, we're going to go down to the bottom right, true edge right Satani, true edge left Fendente. Then coming from here, I'm going to come up to the top right box, true edge Satani, true edge Fendente, false edge Satani. Going down to the bottom left, true edge Satani, awkward as it is, true edge Fendente, and hold. So we're